Joe Goldberg is back in New York, but is his past catching up with him? With season 5 of You being the final of the show, how will his twisted story finally end? Paco, Joe's young neighbor who he mentored in season 1, witnessed firsthand both Joe's brutality and his twisted sense of morality. Having moved away from New York with his mother, Claudia, Paco will have been undoubtedly changed by what he saw as a child, but would it have been for the best? Back in season 1, Joe ended the life of Ron, the boyfriend of Paco's mother, telling Paco that some people deserve to die. Now older, Paco may have spent years grappling with the psychological impact of Joe's actions and be on the cusp of a morally twisted lifestyle. Depending on how much time has passed between season 1 and season 5, some fan theories suggest that Paco could return to New York, either on a violent, vengeful, vigilante-like path based on Joe's words, or in the opposite direction, as someone determined to make sure another child doesn't fall into the same cycle he could have done. Whether Paco thanks him or confronts him, either would add an emotional weight to the season, as Paco represents both Joe's guilt and his failure to truly help anyone. Then there's Marianne. She is one of the few survivors who knows the real Joe Goldberg. With Nadia's help, she managed to escape Joe's clutches in season 4 and return to Paris with her daughter. As Joe is unaware of her survival, there is a very loose end that could lead to his capture. If Marianne did choose to push forward with outing Joe Goldberg, his lifestyle and prominent partner Kate are going to make it easy for people to track him down. If she goes to the police, they could provide crucial information about Joe's pattern of behavior. Marianne knows about his past, his methods, and his weaknesses. Season 5 could easily set up a storyline that follows the investigation closing in on a completely oblivious Joe until they finally catch him. Considering his new wealth and social status thanks to wife Kate, this would become an extremely high-profile case. For the first time, Joe is living in plain sight. With Kate's company and wealth backing him, he has more influence than ever, but that also means he's more exposed, especially since he has returned to his original stomping grounds of New York. Having told Kate who he really is and having her accept it gives him a false sense of safety. This could make him complacent, and that is not a smart move. If an investigative journalist starts digging into Kate's family history, it is likely they will dig into Joe's too. If that happens, inconsistencies in his story will emerge. A determined reporter, maybe even someone connected to Beck or Nadia, could start publishing pieces that question his identity. This could lead to a full-scale media scandal, forcing Joe into survival mode. If the public turns against him, he is not in a position to run or be able to manipulate situations to his advantage. We've seen Joe adapt before, but being in the public eye could finally be his undoing. Officer David Fincher, who appeared in season 2, is presumed dead at Joe's hands, but nothing so far has ever been confirmed. However, we know that a new character, Detective Marquez, is arriving on the scene. Could she be looking into Fincher's death? If so, it is likely that she will find his notes on Joe. Fincher was suspicious of Joe from the beginning, and this would give reason for Marquez to pursue him as a lead. Unlike other law enforcement figures who have underestimated Joe, Fincher already knows how dangerous he is. If he reopens the case and finds evidence linking Joe to past murders, it could lead to an intense police pursuit. If the press releases a Kate Galvin Lockwood scandal, or Marianne and Nadia file an official police report against Joe, Marquez could be the one to bring Joe in. Joe has escaped the law before, but if Marquez has enough proof, it may be impossible for him to run this time. Season 4 introduced the idea of Joe battling his darker self, with hallucinations of Reese Montrose serving as his conscience. This psychological struggle could worsen in season 5. As the pressure mounts, Joe might experience full-blown dissociative episodes. He may start seeing visions of his past victims such as Beck, Love, and Candace, for example, all forcing him to confront the reality of what he's done. If Joe's mental state deteriorates, he could begin making bigger mistakes, leaving behind evidence or exposing himself in a moment of weakness. This could lead to his capture or a final act of self-destruction, where he either turns himself in or succumbs to his own violent tendencies. Joe has left a trail of grieving families in his wake. While the series often focuses on Joe's perspective, season 5 could shift to the loved ones of his victims. Beck's parents, who lost their daughter in season 1, may finally push for answers. With Joe's new wealth and influence, they could connect the dots between his past and present. Meanwhile, Candace's family could also be searching for closure, especially since Candace was presumed dead once before. If her death was ever questioned, someone could reopen the case, leading to a dangerous unraveling of Joe's secrets. The Quinn family are also wealthy, powerful, and connected. When Love Quinn died in season 3, Joe faked his own death. But that doesn't mean Love's family stopped looking for answers. They will want someone to blame for Love's actions against Delilah, and want someone to be punished for her own death. They might have already hired private detectives or used their influence to dig into Joe's past, especially now that he walks among the upper echelons of New York society. Once they realize he's alive and thriving in Manhattan, they could come after him in full force. The Quinns have no reason to hold back. They could use financial power to destroy his reputation, frame him for crimes, or even send hired killers after him.
I'm going peasant hunting.
And with Joe living out in the public eye more, others he has hurt can find him. Ellie Alves, the sharp-witted teenager from season 2, is another major loose end. After her sister Delilah was murdered by Love Quinn, Joe sent Ellie money to disappear, but that doesn't erase the pain she endured. Now, Joe is a public figure thanks to Kate's wealth and power, which means Ellie could easily track him down. Some fans have been speculating that Ellie could return, determined to uncover Joe's true nature. She may have spent years gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment to expose him. If she finds proof linking Joe to other murders, she could go public or even work with law enforcement. Either way, Ellie's return would be a major obstacle for Joe, as she is one of the few people who knows his real identity and has a deep personal vendetta. Some fans wonder if Joe will try to change. Now that he has power and security, could he resist his violent urges?
When I return, I'll have put you behind me.
Unlikely. Dramas and thrillers aren't renowned for giving characters with money the most wholesome personalities or a working moral compass. But that doesn't mean Joe won't try to curb the urge to continue on his dark path. At the end of season 4, both he and Kate have vowed to keep each other good, but considering both seem more thrilled with the bad side of life, one has to wonder how long they can keep this vow. Season 5 might explore whether Joe can suppress his nature. He could seek therapy, attempt to do good, or even try to right his past wrongs. But with so many enemies closing in, is redemption even possible? Joe's pattern has always taken the same routine. He starts fresh.
All I want is to start over. But this killer won't let me go.
He falls in love, he kills, and he runs. Knowing the truth about him, could Kate be the one that finally breaks that cycle? Or is he doomed to bring her into his dark lifestyle? With this being the final season of You, all signs point to it culminating in Joe's downfall. Whether it's the law, his enemies, or his own guilt, something is going to finally catch up to him. Will he be arrested, killed, or will he take matters into his own hands? The 5th season of You is shaping up to be Joe's most dangerous yet, and there's no way out this time. What do you think? Will Joe finally get what he deserves, or will he find a way to escape again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching Screen Rant.